This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Right out of the door!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Because I'm the Mark, and I'm awesome!
The Guru.
Today I'm going to break it down for all you simpleton sweat hogs listening out there in Can Crusher Nation. I don't mean to come out here week after week and toot my own horn, but toot.
And the English Professor.
It is I, the English Professor from the County of Kings, speaking the English of the Queen.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
And welcome back to another Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
Take two.
Somebody forgot to plug in the mic, and I didn't like the audio that we were getting from the normal computer. So, Mark the Mark is your host, and just a little bit behind the times today. In studio for the first time in a long time is the glorious Guru, and at his humble abode is the English Professor, John Patalano, and of course the dogs are here too, because Uncle Chad brought the old bark box.
They got their toys. They're actually going to have a couple more. This is build up, since the last time I'd been down, so they'll probably have a couple of more next weekend. Mickey's happy and being a whore with the toys already.
Right?
So... Oh, he got the squeaker.
Oh, so from the first recording, there was no squeaker. So we might not get the squeak the whole time. Good. John, how's your cat?
I thought that the squeaking was, before I knew that the dogs got toys, I thought maybe it was Chad just squeaking in the background.
Well,
no, that wasn't him.
You get older, couple year or a year older now. Yeah, a couple of years. I'm like fucking dog years. I'm aging now, I guess. I didn't oil the joints properly this morning. No WD-40 or anything like that. So,
the second take's going to be so much more fun. Definitely. John, so yeah, the dogs will be joining us today. There won't be squeaking on this part of the show now, but the first part, if you listen to it, there was.
But they're not going to be able to listen to it.
Right, because I already deleted it, because I'm an idiot.
Yeah. So he wrecked it that fast, Miggy.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of slow for him.
Yeah, Chad's also been here probably 5 minutes before we hit the recording button. So
yeah, but still, man, a toy does not last long in Miggy's jaws.
No. How about your cat? Does your cat enjoy toys?
Yeah, usually, you have to play with her. You can't just give her something. She likes human contact. I got her a laser pointer, and because she loves laser pointers. I know I've read about them, and people are like, don't use laser pointers because it frustrates cats and dogs because they never experience the kill. They're constantly chasing it, and then it disappears. I don't know. Relax. My cat likes laser pointers. I give her treats afterwards, and that seems to take the place of missing out on the prey. If she feels like she accomplished something, she went hunting, she ate something afterwards. Anyway. The old laser pointer wore out. I got this one at the hardware store. Imagine me in a hardware store first.
Right. That's amazing within itself.
Yeah, I was getting grass seed. But I got the laser pointer, brought it home, and already it didn't work. It didn't work. I don't know what the problem was.
Did you put the batteries in?
The right way?
Yeah, it just came as it was. I mean, it didn't come with.
But sometimes, I'm not being, there's a pull tab sometimes so the batteries can connect. Did you pull that pull tab out?
I tell you what I did. I gave it to my wife when it didn't work. And then she confirmed that it didn't work.
So he fucking broke it and then gave it to her.
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah. So, a lot going on here on Can Crushers. This past week, I was all over the place passing out flyers, and I'll get to that, and we'll talk more about Ballpark Brawl here in a minute. But we also have a ton of interviews set up this past week that we did, and I had some umpiring games. This was an action-packed week for us as a show. I still got all of wrestling in, plus something I can't wait to talk about in the third segment. And you guys are going to... Can't Crusher Nation, along with you guys, Chad and John, are going to think I've lost my mind. So there's a big teaser.
That's not true. We know you have.
That's legit. That is legit. But let's talk about Ballpark Brawl. It's less than 2 weeks away, June 19th in DuBois, Pennsylvania. You guys have seen who's going to be there. Sin Bodie, Ray Lynn, Al Snow, Chad Miller. A lot of the guys we've talked with on the spotlights, gals as well. And we're just really revving up for it. Yes, there's a meet and greet. We've said that from day one, there's a meet and greet. The show starts at 6:30, the meet and greet's an hour before. So I asked this because as I was putting posters around Clarion, DuBois, Brookville, all over, somebody's like, hey, I didn't notice. I had these for about a week. There's no time on the posters. So, yeah. So then I go online and also look, because ballparkbrawl.net is where you can buy the tickets. It's not there either. So I instantly jump on Chad. I'm like, he's like, you've been passing these out for a week now. And he's not mad. He's like, oh, shit. And I'm like, that's what happens when you just continually do something. I looked at it the first day I got it. I'm like, oh, these are sweet posters. Not really looking over anything, just looking at it saying, will this draw my attention? It did. Well, it's 6:30. And the meet and greet's an hour before, and there's a lot of cool stuff that's going to be happening down there, along with meet and greets and raffles and so on and so forth. So,
no, we're not giving away a meet and greet for Al Snow, people, so don't worry.
Well, does anybody want to meet him?
Well, we want to make sure that we want to make sure it's going to be like, oh, we get to meet Al Snow. Well, they're winning our $3 for our tickets.
Right.
You know, they don't want to do that.
You will get to meet Raylan, Vicious Vicky, Notorious Mimi, Lady Frost, Sin Bodie, Cash Flow, Mr. Pectacular, all those guys and gals.
I know people, so I met Al for free one time.
Do you know people?
Mark introduced me.
Oh.
I know you.
Oh, yeah.
I went up to his table, and he said hi to you, and he said, hey, this is my friend John, and I shook Al's hand. Nice guy.
Yeah.
I met him for free.
Yeah. He, you know, you ought to be glad that he's that type of friend, John, because this is what the fucker does to me at WrestleCade. We go up to Al's thing, and he talks to Al for about 10 minutes, and he gets Al's book and has him sign it and everything. Okay, we'll talk to you later. It's like I wasn't even fucking there. I'm like, that's a dick move. Oh, I didn't realize you never met Al. Well, when the fuck am I going to meet him?
I don't know. I forget things. So posters are out, and you'll be able to go on, and they're working on at least putting a date on the website to get that set up. But we'll be there for that. I'll be there Friday for baseball, taking off work. I'm excited about that, to call baseball games all Friday. Saturday, we have lots going on. Get to partake in some beverages afterwards. Sunday is Father's Day, so that's pretty exciting. I'm excited that you'll be back up in this neck of the woods, and Chad will be down there, bringing your boys and everything.
Yes. Yep. IWC turned into two people versus... Oh, wait, we're still on Al, aren't we?
I'm never on Al, but...
No, never mind. Yeah, well, okay, so
we moved on.
Sorry. Yeah, boys decided they wanted to go, so now it's going to be 4 of us. Vinny told me, he said, you embarrass me, so I want to be around my brothers. He just doesn't like me yelling at the wrestlers and shit.
So he's growing up big time. Oh, shit, we forgot something. Yesterday was Vinny's birthday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess the little brat did turn 7 yesterday.
Happy birthday, Vinny, man.
Happy birthday, Vinny. That's a great age, buddy. Enjoy it.
He had a good day. He had a little party with family and got a shitload of V-Bucks that he pretty much spent before I got him logged into his fucking game.
That's how it works.
And, we're not talking like 1,000 or 2,000, John. I got him 13,500 V-Bucks for his fortnight.
Go on.
Asked him last night, How many V-Bucks do you have left? 150.
I'm in the negative.
He was like, I'm built. He's like, I'm building back. He's like, well, I'm building it back up. I was like, Vinny, what the hell did you spend it on? And there's some guy that he got that looks like fucking Super Shredder from the Ninja Turtles and, you know, can make you a fucking morning drink and serve it to you. I don't know what the hell he bought.
Ethan's not a big Fortniter, so your sons are, and I know Sylvan is. Like, this game you could take out or remortgage your house with this game if you allow kids, because the add-ons that you need to get better and this, that, and the other thing are unbelievable. Now, why did we ever think of Fortnite to make money?
I don't know.
We're so slow. Especially technology.
So you said, yeah, especially 13,500.
Yes, sir. And he went. He went through 13,350 of them.
Wow, 13.5. I can't resist this, guys. 13.5. What did you fucking high, man? Forget about 13.5. That's from Scarface.
See, he's even got that. I don't know if that's a shadow on John's chin or if that's actually like chin hair right there.
It's definitely not chin hair.
Oh,
this guy,
it's like a shadow. Does he got like fucking food stuck below his lip there? What the hell's going on?
Maybe that.
Oh,
that was from Scarface. Sasso wanted 13,500 for a kilo, and Al Pacino was like, "No, you fucking high, man. Forget about 13.5."
Nice.
And that's where Razor Ramon came from.
It is. I love the transition you always bring to us, because now we're getting into wrestling. Nice transition.
Yeah.
So,
just very quickly, I had a crazy busy week too. I talked to my uncle and my aunt. My mom's younger brother was visiting. And I was on the phone with my aunt, and she's like, "Oh, what are you doing? What's going on?" And I said, well, and Esther, you're not going to believe this. Some things never change. This was Tuesday night. I said,
Aunt Josephine?
I'm watching wrestling with my son. Aunt Esther.
Oh, okay.
She's my Uncle Frank's wife. I said, I'm watching wrestling. She goes, I said, yeah, I still watch it. Ha, ha, ha. She goes, oh, yeah, it's on now? I said, yeah. She goes, Uncle Frankie and I watch it all the time, every Monday night, every Friday. If we can't be home, we set the DVR, but we never miss it. I was like, you're kidding. After all these years, Uncle Frankie still watches wrestling. She goes, yeah, we never miss it. What channel's it on? I said, well, tonight is what they call NXT, and it's on USA. And she goes, all right, I'm going to find it. Your Uncle Frankie's in the bedroom, but as soon as he comes out, we're going to sit down and watch it with your mother. I'm like, oh, yeah, she'll love that.
Oh, Mom's watching wrestling with...
Yeah, Mom's watching NXT. She goes, I know. She goes, the storylines are ridiculous. Nobody fights for those reasons. She goes, but the athleticism is great. I know they're not trying to kill each other, but we love the matches. I was like, holy cow. 40 years that I've been a fan. Uncle Frankie's been a fan that entire time. And before, to the days of Bruno. He was one of my uncles that would go to the Garden.
Do you think we could get Aunt Esther to come on the show for like a weekly recap one time? I mean, you did a great impersonation, but maybe we could have your wife go over and set up some Skype or something there at some point, and we can Skype her in, because that would be great to have Aunt Esther, at least to cover one show, Raw or SmackDown or something. That would make enthralling conversation, I'm sure.
I can't even do her accent. It is absolutely the thickest Brooklyn accent I've ever heard.
Is it like as bad as what was her name, Marissa Tomei and My Cousin Vinny?
Yeah, it's along those lines. Yep.
Oh.
And then my Uncle Frank, if you guys ever listen to mob recordings of Donnie Brasco and Lefty Ruggieri, they're on YouTube. They're fascinating. He's got like 6 years worth of recordings. My Uncle Frank sounds like Lefty Ruggieri. The guy, another Al Pacino reference. The guy he played in Donnie Brasco.
He does. This is awesome. All right, we will transition to wrestling.
Okay. Yeah.
And we're gonna attack AEW first. AEW, guys. Last week at this time, we were making our predictions for Double or Nothing 2021, and right off the bat, John, you kept track of who won and who lost. So you want to break down the the rankings of the matches?
Yep. Chad wins by a hair. He guessed, which is pretty impressive. He went, he batted 700. He got 7 out of 10. Correct.
That's good.
I was just
I got
impressed that I had a hair.
Okay.
Okay.
How ironic. Yeah, that he won by a hair.
Right.
And then the guy with all the hair was a hair behind. I got 6 out of 10. And Mark, you got 4 out of 10. Some interesting things of note. Both of you guys thought the Pinnacle would win that match. I was the only one that said the Inner Circle would stay together. Nobody got the Battle Royal right. My thinking with...
I was close. I was close.
You were close. You were close. Yeah, about as close as you can get. My guess of Isaiah was more along the lines of just a one-off match where, you know, now that it's a title match, Hardy wants 50%, and maybe that creates some sort of tiff between them. That's the only thing that came to mind. I never saw Jungle Boy coming out of that. No, but Chad was on point with these.
Yeah. All right, let's discuss them. The buy-in, free show, whatever you want to call it. Serena Deeb takes on Riho for the NWA title. We knew that this was not going to be a title change. If there was anything we could have predicted, it wasn't going to be a title change with Riho going to NWA and defending that. The intensity from Serena Deeb, man, I've always loved her, but climbing the notch again, she just brought it. I need more of this from Serena all the time.
And the commentary team kind of helped that along, saying, like, you know, what's with this new attitude or whatever they said, but they kind of
more aggressive.
That, they were saying she's much more aggressive and good match, brilliant work from both of them. But yeah, Serena Deeb with some heelish tactics, you know, showing more aggression, but also showing a touch of arrogance, just a touch of arrogance. This was really well done. Now I'm curious to see, you know, where she goes from there. So buy-in match was great. Good way to kick this thing off and, you know, good match and then raise a couple of questions.
Right.
It's funny we're talking about Serena Deeb right off the bat with AEW. She defends the NWA Women's title later tomorrow afternoon.
Well, no, because it's going to go up. Essentially, from 2 hours after this is posted, she's going to be defending the NWA title
against Camille. I'm looking at her face and body, but I can't think of her damn name. Interested in that match. Camille had a 20-minute match on the Power Show against Thunder Rosa. Did not think Camille that would really be her thing, but she didn't look too bad.
We'll talk about NWA a little bit in the third segment. The opening match for Double or Nothing then that you had to pay for was Hangman Adam Page against Brian Cage. Big man match for me with some crazy spots. The moonsault by Adam was awesome. Was good until Hook and Starks came down, I thought. Once they came down, I don't know. Starks, I love. He just has that neck injury. Hook is just not... He's as believable as us.
Yeah. That was kind of the point, though, of them coming down. I mean, we called this from the beginning. Whether... The only thing that really was a question mark was who would win this match. And we had different predictions for different reasons, the three of us. You know, does Cage win, which is what I predicted, and then prove to Page that, hey, look, I didn't need these guys. And Page would be like, yeah, you're right. You don't need these guys. That's what I've been telling you. Or does he lose, does Cage lose because he refused the help of his partners? So, to your point, Mark, it was a good match, but that interference at the end was the whole story and was the whole point of this match.
Yeah, you knew it was going to come down to that. I think they should have called it on the fly and not had that brought in, because this match was other than a stumble or two, this was a pretty good, stiff fucking match between them. But it is what it is. They're just, fueling the thing of him not wanting interference. Is he going to turn a good guy? Stark still looks like, the pool boy from California or something. It served its purpose. It was still a good match.
Yeah. Next matchup, Mox and Eddie versus the Young Bucks. I like that they brought the sneakers back out and hung them over the corner. Like, that's a good, safe place to do a drug deal, in that corner. Because you heard, you go to cities and there's sneakers hanging over a telephone wire. That's what I was always told, that a drug deal can happen there and, it's free and clear. So, the sneakers came in later on in the match. Mox turned into the Sandman, pounding his head with the beer.
Breaking himself open.
Yeah, he broke himself open real quick. This was a great fight between two teams. I'm telling you, and I'll say this again when we talk about AEW, if the Young Bucks, and we said it last week, if the Young Bucks can stay with this, me and Ashley Ludwin are going to have some conversations about the Young Bucks. Because you get some flippy stuff, but you're getting so much heel, and I love the heel because they're bastards. They're more of a bastard than Pac. I can't say I love it yet, but I really enjoy them being cock bags. Is that your word?
No, the stamp. Oh, wait. Oh. No, we don't edit this. Never mind.
Yeah. We don't edit anything.
Go ahead, Chad.
I don't hide my hatred for those fucking two little midget wrestlers. But this was a good match. I do not like them in any way, shape, or form. Let me state that like 3, 4, 5 times in a row. Keep that in mind. But them as the heelish dicks, cockbags, as Mark said. This fits them. This is back to, and I'm not comparing because they're not even close, but in reality, you always wanted to see Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson get their ass kicked, but 10-minute time limit for the TV title. Well, I could fucking run around and take them to a 10-minute draw. But this fits them because a lot of people don't like them. They want to see them get their ass kicked, so we're going to go back to, no, we're not going to fucking give you that at first. Give them an extended reign. I'm curious, where are they going to go? Who are they going to have challenge them next?
By the way, there must be 2 squeakers in that toy you gave them, because one is sitting on the podcast table, and Max is just destroying it again, trying to get the other one out. So, John, what did you think of this?
I loved it. I loved the lead up to it. I think it was Nick who said, you guys have gone too far. Those sneakers were one of 7,000 ever made. They were rare. Hilarious. I love it. I'm with you. Ready, Mark? I echo what you said. They are selling. They're healing it up during the course of the match. They're hilarious. We know they're great athletes. Now we're getting the layers to who these guys are and who they can be. And you can still learn a thing or two from the all-time greats, from Mark's favorite team, the Rock and Roll Express. And I'll just bring this up very quickly. When we saw them, they were 40 years into their career, Mark, and they were still wrestling a tag team match. And Robert Gibson's in the corner. Ricky Morton's getting his ass kicked in the ring. But Robert, for me, was the guy you pay attention to because he's watching the action. He's watching Dr. Tom Pritchard, and he's watching his partner. And then he looks to his right to see where the tag rope is. This is a nice detail. He looks to see where the tag rope is and extends it as far as it'll go to try to reach in to make a tag. That's not stealing focus. That's adding focus. Because if Robert Gibson's just standing there and doesn't give a shit about his friend getting beat up, then why should we care? But his reaction and his body language kind of raised the stakes of what was going on in the ring. It made it feel more important. My point is, if the Young Bucks just had a little bit of that, work on the outside. I know the cameras are going to focus on what's on the inside. Show me something while you're on the outside, too. Just a little detail. I'll be a fan. I will, because I like what they're doing. I will be on board.
The detail and making things feel more important. And I don't know, John probably hasn't watched this. We were obviously there. I go back and I think of Tommy Young as the referee, outside referee at the Crockett Cup when we went to it. Kicking the ropes, checking the ropes for, to make sure they're tight, checking the turnbuckles to make sure they're on, giving, the announcement instructions. It gave it a different feel. Yeah. I mean, at that point, you could have your favorite between one or the other, but you're like, this fucking shit's about to hit the fan.
Yeah.
Little things like that.
Yeah. And that's unfortunately, that's lost. That's so lost because now you can come in the damn ring whenever you want to in a tag team match. They've toned it down, but nevertheless, there are times you can count to 40 when everybody's in the ring and they're coming in whenever they want. The tag rope almost doesn't even mean anything anymore. But I think it's a nice detail.
This was my one complaint with this match. It went both ways on both teams, but more obviously with the Young Bucks. Fucking 5 count. Yeah. Toss them. Do some. Break up the count by grabbing the guy by the hair. How many fucking times did we see Tommy Young or one of the Hebners or whatever grab Pee-wee the guy by the fucking hair? Yeah, and then they push Pee-wee, and then Pee-wee pushes them, and they take a bump out of the fucking arena. You gotta enforce that a little bit more. When all 4 of them are brawling and stuff like that, I can see a little bit more leeway. But like at the fucking end, when they were giving Moxley those shitty fucking looking knees, which were really bad. Yeah. I seen a fucking production guy with a Fox's Pizza menu ordering fucking Billy Gunn reformed, the Guns with Bart, the fucking tag team.
Jesus.
There was a lot of shit fucking going on. Just gotta, pay a little bit more attention to detail.
Next up is the Battle Royal. John gave a spoiler. I didn't think there was anything special from this Battle Royal. Of the 3 that we've seen of the Casino Battle Royals, I thought this was probably the weakest one. I still like the concept. I do. It's a Battle Royal / Royal Rumble type deal thing. I was almost right on Christian, and then he let me down. So where I've been saying I'm not on Christian yet, I'm like, okay, he's going to come out run the gamut, and he's going to be the number 1 contender for a one-off or whatever. In mid-match, I said, nope, he's not winning this. He's going to start a feud with Hardy, and we see that excels a little bit on Friday Night Dynamite. Didn't see Jungle Boy winning, and didn't see Leo Rush being the surprise.
Boy, I was wondering if there was ever going to be anything go as a bigger fucking flop than their, cheap sparklers ring blow up thing that they had at the last pay-per-view. Leo Rush come out, and I was like, I'm fucking pumped. I'm like, fucking Daniel Bryan or Samoa Joe or fucking Danhausen or somebody, fucking anybody. Leo Rush, and I was like, what the fuck? And he was like, what, Dad? I said, do you know who that is? He was like, no. I was like, exactly.
It was a fine battle royal. I always liked battle royals. It was enjoyable. To your point, Mark, though, nothing really stood out about it. It was hard to predict the winner because, just quite frankly, there weren't big names in this thing. There weren't stars in this thing. Christian might have been too obvious of a choice, and people would have complained, they're pushing him right to the top. Jungle Boy's a surprise. I don't think he wins, not yet. I think he's a talented kid. I certainly don't think it's his time yet, but I think he'll have a good match. Yeah. I think I'll have a good match with Omega, but I don't think it leads to much else beyond that.
Anthony Ogogo versus Cody. I don't know. I didn't get into it. Chad's watched this match 6 times since then. He said before we hit record, but it furthered the story, and I'll leave my thoughts there.
You watched it that many times, Chad?
Well, as usual, even when he was in school, Mark's math is off. Watched it twice. I watched an initial when it, was playing live or whatever. Just, it was where I went and got something to eat and bathroom break. And then the second time, I wanted to watch pay-per-view the next day because I was like, there's no way that I thought this pay-per-view was as good as it was. This match I kind of appreciated because there was a bit of wrestling in there. We knew what the outcome was going to be with Ogogo taking time off. You knew what the outcome was going to be. Cody Rhodes's fucking entrance in that jacket. What the fuck was that?
I don't know.
I mean, it looked like no offense, it looked like a blind person was given a bunch of fucking little girl jewelry shit to throw on a robe is what his fucking robe looked like.
I enjoyed this match. I'll be the odd man out here. Before they did a tribute to soldiers for Memorial Day, nice little vignette put together there. And it seemed genuine. I'm sure it was genuine from the AEW promotion family. But then this match immediately followed, and it's Anthony Ogogo coming out who's bashed this country. So, don't think that wasn't by design. That was perfectly placed. You could have done this thing at the top of the show. You could have done it anywhere else, but you just happened to put it in there before Anthony Ogogo comes out. But hey, it's pro wrestling. It toys with your emotions, and that's why we tune in, because that's what we want. We want them to toy with our emotions. I thought we saw a lot more out of Anthony Ogogo other than the right hand. I thought there was just good work all around, even from Arn Anderson on the outside.
Oh, all right. Next matchup is Miro against Archer for the TNT title. No Jake because he got punched in the gut prior to, or beat up or whatever. Lance almost killed himself at the start of the match. I believe when he jumped over the rope, he kind of got tangled up a little bit. It was a big man battle in my thoughts. Are we done seeing snakes? Because that snake was chucked pretty far on the ramp.
That motherfucker, that thing bounced.
Yeah.
You notice that? I'm like, I didn't see that part at first in the first match when Archer went out. I kind of just, But I'm like, what the fuck? What does he have? Like a fucking grass snake or something in that fucking bag?
Milk.
And then he chucks it, and the fucker bounces like 4 times, and I'm like, I have a hard time skipping a fucking rock on a lake 4 times, let alone he just chucked that thing 50 yards and the fucker bounced 4 times.
So do we think it was a hose in there?
Oh, it was a hose of some sort, all right.
I liked the match, though. I did like the match.
Yeah, I hope, there wasn't an animal in there. It's still not as dastardly as Earthquake, not just killing Damien, but then having the nerve to make Quake burgers out of him and eat them on TV.
Right.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the snake could have possibly survived the throw. Possibly. We don't know.
Yeah.
But it's not going to survive, and we know that it didn't survive an earthquake when you just a 900-pound man just sitting on him and then eating him.
Yeah. Eating him to boot. Yeah. Boy, if there was a hose in there, whatever the hell it was, I'm just glad it stayed closed, because that would have been pretty embarrassing if when he threw it, it tore or opened up or something. But for all we know, there was a snake in there, and he whipped it up the ramp.
Yeah.
Speaking of pets getting eaten, didn't Al Snow eat his own dog or something?
He did.
One time?
Yeah, he did.
What a bastard.
Well, he didn't mean to.
Well,
The
who
boss
fed
man,
it to him?
The boss man served it to him. Yeah.
That's right.
Was it Fifi? I don't know what the...
Yeah, I don't know.
Pepe.
Any other thoughts on the match between you two? Because this has gone down the wrong path.
You know, across the board, I thought it was a solid pay-per-view, an old-school wrestling pay-per-view. In that regard, there's not a lot that stands out, but it was all really good. This was another good big man match. I don't know if it was on the pay-per-view or if it was on AEW Dynamite, but he gave a little spiel. He gave a shout-out to his wife. Might have been Dynamite.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. He was looking right at the camera, and I think he was looking at me because he has to have heard what I've said about her.
Well, we'll
So
get
it's kind of like,
because she was. We'll talk about her being released this week. But
that was Friday night. Yeah, but he was telling me like, "Hey, John, watch it.
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying."
We get an announcement that the next pay-per-view, All Out, is September 5th in Chicago, so they're going back to their roots. Kind of excited for that. And then we get the match that I've been waiting for. I'm ready to go. This is awesome. It's Shida against Britt for the AEW Women's title. And this has moved up to Match of the Year for me. This was awesome. I loved everything about this match. We always give Britt love. Let me tell you, Shida did, in my book, she did wonders in this match for Britt to excel her and give her that little nod to say, yep, you are the face of the AEW women's division. Here's your time. Did you know what Britt's attire was when she was paying homage to?
It was lost on me. Yeah.
Scott Hall. Those were Razor Ramon or Scott Hall in the NWO, his paint dripping and everything.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was her Scott Hall outfit.
I didn't know she was a fan.
I think it was a ladder match. It had something to do with his ladder match against Michaels that she liked so much. There was a story on one of the websites about it where it come from, and she wanted to do that.
Yeah. I figured you'd notice that right off the bat, being the big Razor Scott fan that you are, but details, John.
Yeah. I did enjoy this. I would not put it as match of the year. A little bit about who I wanted to win. It's tough. It really is. Hikaru Shida is fantastic. I like the good guys in my older age. She always has a look of determination on her face. Any conference she does, or she's at ringside scouting her opponent, she's always got this look on her face like, oh boy, this is going to be a tough title defense. How do I crack this egg? And then on the flip side of that, you have Dr. Britt Baker, who's just a terrible person. She's not nice. And I'm like, if you'd have told me 5 years ago, you know that girl you go watch in Pittsburgh, she's going to headline and she's going to be the face of a brand and she's going to be their champion. Oh, wow, that's great. We could say we knew her way back when. She's a rotten person now. I have a hard time liking her.
Bullshit.
I do. She's so good at what she does. She's entertaining, but then I'm just like, you're not nice. I thought this was a very good match. I read some of the complaints online. I will go back to a guy who I still think is brilliant, even though I don't listen to him anymore. He managed the Midnight Express in the 80s, and he carried a tennis racket. I don't know what he had to say about this match, because I don't listen to it, but what he had to say about Bret Hart versus Stone Cold at WrestleMania, and I've mentioned this on the show before, it was imperfect and messy. And in that regard, it reminded him of a Watts or Crockett style fight. I don't know that I'd go that far with this, but there were parts that were imperfect, but that's what made it good. You have Shida going for a suplex how many times? Guys, if we're to believe these women are fighting, you don't need some tremendous reversal or block. You have one fundamental reversal or move that you do. Go to that. Sheeta goes for the suplex. Britt hooks her behind the knee. You can't suplex me now. Later in the match, Sheeta goes for a suplex. Britt hooks the knee. It's not flashy. It's not pretty. But it makes sense. It's fundamental. It is to prevent you from doing a move to me. Then later in the match, what does Sheeta hit? She hits like a devastating Snapdragon suplex. Hey, that other suplex didn't work 6 times. Let me try this one. Oh, this one works. Maybe Britt didn't have a defense for that. They told a really good story, so I don't get the complaints about it was sloppy, it was messy. It looked like 2 women. One of them's from Punxsutawney, and she got, her Punxsutawney fight on. There was a touch of dead air. There was a touch of dead air there for a little bit. I don't know what was going on. But other than that, it just looked like these 2 ladies decided to meet somewhere, slug it out, and settle.
The manager that you spoke of, it's really fucking weird that you said that, because that was pretty much his description of this match.
Wow.
Exactly about what he said. It had its imperfections, but it wasn't ridiculous shit. It was just shit that happens. It wasn't sloppy. It was, holy hell, you get soaked in sweat and stuff like that. You're going to slide. It's going to be hard, stuff like that. I seen John, right along with John, seen the criticisms of the match. And I honestly think where a lot of this comes from, and it, for the motherfuckers that aren't in the ring, you can't, and I, like I've ever been in the ring, but you can't fucking understand what the mentality is of these people going into these matches. And I bring that up because Sheeta always wanted to wrestle in front of a crowd.
Right.
And that story leaked out. Well, then she loses the title on her first match in front of a real crowd. And it was, well, she kind of phoned it in. She was sloppy. No, they fucking weren't. She didn't phone it in. This isn't fucking Shawn Michaels or Kevin Nash or Razor Ramon or any of those other cockbiters. She didn't phone it in. It was a good, solid, stiff fucking match. And, I think we may have to talk about suspending John from the show for a couple of weeks, because Britt is such a sweetheart. When she puts the lockjaw on, she wears a glove.
Right.
I mean, she's
professional.
She's professional, but she's such a sweetheart, such a smile, and, kissing the kids before the match. And,
yeah, definitely.
Helping Reba through the rope with her crutch. And, I just don't get it. But he's got to rein it in on him. She's such a sweet person.
She is a sweet person. Shout out to Mom and Dad Baker for being in front row. I love seeing them give the business to Sheeta as well. Next matchup was Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky against Sting and Darby. And if there was a match that essentially I didn't, it was this one. The build-up wasn't there for me, and I might be the one. This one did nothing for me comparative to any other match. Still good, but I don't know. I wanted something bigger from this.
Agreed. Paige and Sky are a very good team. They do a good job as heels. It made sense that Darby Allin took a beating most of the match. Tagged Sting, who can still fly. I mean, Sting was always exciting. I think even, we know Chad loved him, but Chad can agree his repertoire wasn't, extensive. He still did his stuff just as well last Sunday as if it were 1988. He really looks like he hasn't missed a step.
Yeah, that was, like I said, this was a filler match. I didn't expect a ton out of it. but Sting did look good. I know one thing I had to laugh about with him was on his first Stinger splash in the corner, he looked a bit hesitant going high. And then when he spun around and did the second one, he fucking damn near did the Harley Race fucking
Over the top.
Knee, knees to the chest, whatever you want to call it, body press or whatever. But holy shit, he looks, for his age, he looks in great shape. You can tell that he's dropped weight since he's been in AEW. This is good. He's not phoning it in like people say. No, he's just there for the contract and that. But it actually wasn't too bad.
Triple threat match for the AEW Heavyweight Championship. JR was stuck on Echo as everything was quicker than a hiccup in the next, 3 matches. He said that, no, 2 matches, sorry. Quicker than a hiccup. He said that a ton. And it started to grind my gears, as Peter Griffin would say. Not being emotionally invested into this match, I enjoyed it. I really did. At one point, I thought either Pac or Orange Cassidy was going to win, and then they did the right thing. They kept the heat on Omega, and they pissed us all off, and it's the right thing to do. No disrespect to Pac and or Orange Cassidy. Not their time to have that title.
Thank God for Orange Cassidy.
But, yeah, it was good. I like this. I did like this.
Agreed. I thought it was a great match, and I don't use that term lightly, and I'm usually not a fan of triple threats or fatal four-ways, but this was really good. What made it good are the things I've said about other similar style matches. Everybody being where they need to be without the fan, the viewer, realizing that's where they needed to be. You didn't really see anybody just walk up to something and, oh, go ahead, give me that move that you planned. It was fantastic. They all had their moments. Good drama, good build-up, good breakup of pins and submissions. But, those moments were long enough where, like you say, oh, wow, we're going to see a title change. And then somebody comes in and breaks it up. Really good action, really good drama and build-up.
Yeah, this was, I enjoyed the match. Again, this was one of the ones that you knew what the outcome was going to be. Going back to the Young Bucks and, the fucking heelish little sniveling pricks. Fucking, if there's ever a role meant for Omega and the Young Bucks, it's definitely, the little pricks.
It's taking them time to get there, but they're finally doing the right thing now.
I don't like them. I don't like their style rest, but this fits them. You have to. There's certain occasions where you can take wrestlers and fit them into a persona. Then there's when you need to find a persona for the wrestlers. There's a difference. You have to find what works for the wrestlers, not, okay, fucking, trash man or, fucking plumber, fucking DL Hopper, whatever, shit like that. That doesn't fit the fucking guy. You're ruining people at that point.
So the goon, Bill Irwin wasn't a good goon?
No. But I did see a good Chainsaw Charlie match last night. DX was going to kick the shit out of Stone Cold and fucking Cactus Jack come up, and then you hear the chainsaw, and here comes Terry Funk with his wife's pantyhose over his head from underneath the ring with a fucking chainsaw, and they kicked the shit out of all of DX, which was pretty cool.
And there's our sidebar, of course. Full Gear is November 6th. They're just announcing everything in all one pay-per-view. And then Tony comes out to talk about Rampage, which is starting in August. And this was a surprise. I didn't see Mark Henry making the jump. And we find out on Dynamite. We'll cover Dynamite quickly because, or whatever. But he talks and more comes out of this. But Mark Henry's going to be in the ring, he says, too.
Yeah, that's by the time we get to Dynamite, 4 names come to mind over the course of the last month at the most. You know, you have Paul White, Mark Henry, Lashley's old sidekick that was in the Battle Royal. What the hell is his name? He was the wild card.
Leo Rush.
Leo Rush. Well, you can't get on me about it because Vinny didn't know who he was either.
You're comparing yourself to a 6-year-old.
7. His birthday was yesterday.
He was only 6 at the time.
Okay. Touche. Yeah.
Yeah, so they've taken some talent.
Yeah. More to come, I hear. Stadium Stampede 2. We don't have to dive into this complete, and it was amazing. Well, I mean, each thing. This lasted half an hour, 45 minutes.
There was a couple of good points in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Them rappelling off of the scoreboard, no effing way. Not happening. I don't care if it was stunt doubles, them, I don't care, whoever it was. No effing way am I doing that.
Sammy looked comfortable. Santana and Ortiz looked comfortable. Hager was having the fucking time of his life. Jericho looked like he had about 3 Depend undergarments on coming down that fucking wall. It's like, he gave a smile. He wasn't letting go of that fucking rope, though.
MJF's pants were very nicely bedazzled by some mom that owns an Etsy store.
Probably the same one that did Cody's fucking robe.
When they were in, this is going to be the one that grinds John's gears, when they were in the meat cooler, those pig balloons that were cut in half.
Oh, God.
Were horrible.
What? Those weren't real?
No. Apparently Conan's the best DJ in Florida now, because that was, if you're going to break this down and shit on it, stop. This wasn't to be a match with my air quotes. This was all in good fun. I loved it. I'm just saying, those were the stupid things I pointed out. I loved everything about this because it was ridiculous. John texted me one thing, when the bolt cutters got thrown up in the air, you're telling me they're going to bounce and land right where Sammy can then get them. But they end up, yeah, but then they end up under a pallet, which the pallet had never moved. And they slid under there perfectly.
That's like the one where the bat gets thrown, right? Didn't Brian Cage throw Sting's bat to get rid of it? That one pay-per-view, and then Darby, they're in the warehouse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then Darby finds it later, and that is a way of happening in AEW.
It does.
You take a weapon away from someone and you whip it somewhere, hey, it could end up where somebody else could use it now.
It's almost like a video game that it's going to, the word, teleport back to that spot that you just go back and get it at some point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. This was all the things you said. This was so much fun. It reminded me of an old Super Friends episode at the end where the Legion of Doom and the Super Friends just get it on, and it's split up into different fights, and you've got Black Vulcan throwing a thunderbolt around the Riddler's truck and sawing it in half and whatever else. You have all these things going on in all these different places, and you have Superman trapping Bizarro. It was fun. It was a lot of fun, and they all had their own things going on, and I enjoyed it.
I thought it was great. I was laughing. The Urban Meyer shit in the conference room, guy throwing 3 or 4 balls to Jericho,
Charlie Strong,
to peg MJF with. And first one, he hits him in the gut, and then MJF doesn't cover up, and he gets fucking hit right in the nads with the second one. Then fucking Urban Meyer gives him the computer, and he fucking whacks him with that. And then when they're leaving, Urban Meyer, holy shit!
Right. That's dedication for the Jacksonville Jaguars. If they're there doing, shit in the off season, it was
at 11:30 at night or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was at 11:30 by then.
Oh,
they're going to be good.
They are going to be good. Yeah. If they're putting the work in now, they're going to be good.
Only way Jacksonville is good is if I get drafted to them on fucking Madden.
Yeah.
The other funny thing, come on, when Tully and FTR and Santana and Ortiz were standing at the fucking
The nightclub
table
drinking.
and got a drink, that was fucking great.
Yeah.
This match was a lot of fun. Those pigs, that was hilarious. I'm like looking at that and I'm like, what the fuck?
They were very shiny pigs.
Yeah.
It's like they cut them in half and then they used turtle wax to make sure they shined.
Well, maybe they might have used some of, what the hell's the knock it to fuck it off guy that uses baby oil to lube up
maybe
with.
They used that.
They used that on real pigs and it just made it look so shiny.
I love Conan in this, though. You guys mentioned him. He's DJing, right? It's his club, and then he gets very serious. He's got this look on his face like, look, we're here to have a good time. You guys take your shit someplace else.
Right.
You know? Don't start shit at the club. Why do people do that? Of all the places they could have gone and fought, why they got to mess up Conan's gig?
Right. That's DJ in Florida, apparently.
It was funny. It was... Now, the one thing that I really did love about this that we hadn't pointed out versus the first one is they weren't as fucking scattered around with their shooting. Every group that paired off had their own referee, had their own cameraman, and although, they said it took like 3 or 4 days to shoot the back part of it, of the match and everything.
No. Damn. All right.
The front part, when they came back in for the ending and that was live.
Oh, okay.
But the front, the other stuff, I like the way they shot it because it gave me right off the bat that somebody is going to be featured in this win. And sure as shit, thank God Sammy Guevara, after the ass beating that he took last year, he was featured and he got the pinfall on live TV.
Yep. So out of our 6 beers, what are we giving this pay-per-view?
I'd give it 5.
Yeah, right there, easy 5.
Across the board, 5. Yep. All right,
really good matches. Not a lot of huge surprises or anything. Nothing extraordinary, but just good, solid wrestling, like I was saying earlier.
So let's transition to Friday night AEW Dynamite, and we don't have to break it down match by match or anything. There's some high points for you guys that you got out of Dynamite. I think, honestly, the biggest thing is Andrade has now made his way over to AEW. Chad and I brought this up before we hit record today. I don't like who he's paired with. I don't think he needed Vicky. I think he needed somebody else. Vega's out there. She's a free agent. Maybe,
that would have been cool if they'd have brought them back together. Yeah.
Maybe. I mean,
the Bunny would have been a good one.
Yeah, but I don't want him in that group. I don't want him
maybe
in
not
group.
in the group. Maybe have her break. But Vicky, no, that's like fucking bringing in Miro and with fucking Kip Sabian and Penelope. And here's Miro with fucking Mickey and Minnie Mouse pink fucking shirts and Zubas on and flip-flops. That fucking killed Miro at first.
I think this was a shout out to Eddie because he used to get heat on Raw when he would do the Three Amigos suplexes.
Yeah.
Which evidently he was actually, an Eddie Guerrero fan, but he was doing that to make fun of him and draw heat. But I think maybe that was the idea behind, or one of the ideas, not the sole idea behind this pairing. But
my next thing I'll bring up, and then I'll let you guys banter on the rest of the show that you want to. Holy shit, what a crappy group of people to celebrate with Britt. They didn't have anybody else that liked Britt, the Chaos Project, and once I saw Nyla Rose there, I'm like, well, Nyla's going to be the one attacking Britt here because she was just pissed off to be there. But the rest of the people, boy, Britt, you need to invite better people to your your celebrations. Like, we would have flown down. I'm sure Palace, Collier, all could have been there. Plummer will take any chance that he can go to a show like this to go. I just think there's different people.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, when you got John badgering her week after week saying she's not a nice person, who the fuck wants to go around somebody like that?
Yeah. What'd you think of the rest of the show?
Yeah. It was just there. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was after a major pay-per-view show. It was not even a restart. It was a maintenance show. The only thing kind of coming out of it that I took, and it was a little bit of a side thing, was Moxley is going to be out for a while, indefinitely. That is obviously not due to the match. Renee is about ready to pop.
Yep.
She looks like she's fucking huge. I mean, she makes fucking Otis look small.
So nice.
At this point. I'm not being rude, but I seen a picture.
No.
She was working.
You're calling a beautiful lady.
No. Her stomach, she's huge.
I've seen the picture.
There was a picture on Instagram of her working out with, I can't remember who that was. It Chelsea Green?
Yeah.
And she's big. And Renee's not a big girl as it was. She was only about 120 pounds, 130 pounds. She just looks like she's like, okay, get this kid out of me.
John?
I thought it resembled a pay-per-view and that it was a solid wrestling show for the most part. I liked Red Velvet versus the Bunny. I thought that was a good match. I think we need to see more of both of those women. What's his name? Lee Johnson? Cody's
Shotty Lee.
I thought I didn't really know much about him before Friday night, but I thought he looked fine.
He's been the one that lost like 1 million matches in a row.
In IWC.
Yeah, we didn't really get to see a whole lot of what he can do, and I think we saw a little bit more Friday night.
Yeah, he's been in
he's been
IWC
around
quite a few times, having what the hell are those headphones that are so expensive? He comes down to the ring dancing.
That's not Lee Moriarty. That's not him.
I was thinking that was him.
No.
Okay, well, John's right then. Yeah, I didn't know shit about him.
Yeah.
I tried.
And it made sense teaming up Christian Cage and Jungle Boy the night after they were the last 2 men in a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a solid show. I thought it was...
In rolling over, I do like the Christian Hardy feud one more time. I mean, 20 years ago, they burned down WWE with their matches.
We always say we want to see feuds cross promotions. I mean, it's not Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express, where boom, it takes right over someplace else. But I'll take this 20 years later.
Yeah.
And I like the victory lap. I love the inner circle. None of them look like they go together, and that's what makes it so perfect.
Yeah. I think we see big things from Sammy from here on out. I really do.
Yeah.
And I think it might start with a TNT title run in a couple months or so.
Coming out of this, out of the pay-per-view, out of Dynamite, Jungle Boy is facing Omega in 2 weeks.
About now, yeah.
Yeah, roughly about 2 weeks, so that's not going to be the pay-per-view. Who do we see going against Omega at the pay-per-view?
I don't know.
Is it somebody? Because there's absolutely, I don't want to say no build, but who are they going to put in that spot? Is this where they bring somebody in?
Possibly.
Because you got to, how many fucking people are out there now? That first batch of people are cleared to sign.
Yep. And you might see some tonight.
Which one, I love Daniel Bryan, but I have a semi-inside source that is saying that he's in negotiations with Ring of Honor. Bring in Samoa Joe.
That would be huge. All right. Hour and about 5 minutes in here. It's time for a break, so we need to tell you about Collar and Elbow. I'm sure Collar and Elbow is going to be represented at the Ballpark Brawl in DuBois. So Al Snow will be down there with some apparel. I was going to say paraphernalia. That's definitely not the right word either. But some apparel.
You might be down there with some of that, too.
Hats, hoodies, tees, eye patches, vests, pants, everything you need from head to ankle. Al Snow's got it.
Does he have head there? He has head?
Head's going to be there. I'm sure Head's going to be there. You can take a picture with Al Snow. You can actually meet him for the first time, Chad.
Yeah, it'd be fucking nice. I've only been talking shit about him for a year and a half.
There you go. Chad, promo code, what is it?
Can Crushers. All one word, capital C in can, capital C in Crushers.
John, quickly, how much you save and what do we compare it to?
You could save 10% by using that promo code, and we often compare it to shipping or parking.
There you go. Here comes Al Snow. When we come back, we'll tackle the WWE in general.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hey, this is OVW announcer Stephanie, and you are listening to the wrestling podcast, Can Crushers.
And welcome back, Can Crushers listeners. It is I, the English professor, joined by Chad the Glorious Guru and our host, Mark the Mark Martinez. We just heard from Al Snow over at Collar and Elbow. In this segment, we are going to discuss NXT that was on Tuesday night, as usual now. It's a new night. Pretty good show for the most part. It kicks off with a triple threat match. The winner's going to be the number one contender. It includes Johnny Gargano, Kyle O'Reilly, and Pete Dunne. Excellent match. Excellent match. Once I saw the ending to this, I thought, this is a lazy way out. All right, spoiler if you haven't seen it. Adam Cole comes out and beats the crap out of everybody single-handedly. So it's a no contest.
Chad just did double fist pump, so he's happy.
A no contest in a triple threat match. I thought there were no rules. But anyway. And then once that's determined, you see this coming a mile away. We're going to make it a 6,000-man match and throw everybody in there. I don't know. Call me old-fashioned. I wanted to see one person win this match, and the winner of that match go against the guy from...
Cross.
Cross.
I was wondering when he was going to lose his
Scarlett's significant other.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
All joking aside, would have liked to have seen a winner, but this fits because Adam Cole's such a bastard. I shouldn't say that because then I'll sound like somebody dogging that sweetheart from AEW all the time, which just happens to be Adam Cole's girlfriend. He's just a bastard, and this fit. This is going to give him and O'Reilly, chance to beat shit out of each other. Johnny same face will probably take the fall in the fucking match. It's just something different.
I liked the beginning of this match. Okay, I did. I really wish when they would do the picture-in-picture, the commercial was smaller compared to the wrestling. As we just got an update. I'm sure that was going to be all over the place, but nonetheless. I wish the picture-in-picture was a little bit smaller because I want to watch a wrestling match. I could give two shits about the commercial. Okay? I bitch and moan about that. I like that Adam Cole came back this way. I did. I agree with John, though, that I think it was a little bit lazy. Cole could have came in and took everybody out, and then somebody roll up and take any one of the three could have faced Cross, and then Cole interrupts that match and says, hey, this is a line to build for 2 months. But I do have to say, who had a better week? Britt or Adam Cole? Adam Cole comes in and takes out everybody. Britt only had to beat one person.
Britt's a champion. Adam isn't.
Yeah, it was a setup. To make you give Britt some props.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this where Ember Moon
right after
came out?
Yep.
That confused the shit out of me. I'm like, I thought there was still a match going on.
No, because Adam had taken everybody out.
Yeah. That just confused me a little bit. That she came out. It's almost like someone said to her, hey, there's no match or whatever. She was watching and thought, oh, nobody won. I'm going to use this time now to run out and make my statement. It just seemed oddly placed.
Well, the whole beginning, the match itself was good, and then there was like wonkiness because she came out and then it went to a break, and then Adam walks by again right after other things going on, and you just see like a major transition of everything going on. I don't know. What else do you? What else did you guys like about this show?
The tag team match at the end was great. I thought it was a really good match.
Yeah,
thought we were going to see, but it was a really good match. As far as TV matches, weekly match, I have to give it a pretty damn high mark. Probably, if we're going 4 stars.
No,
probably,
we're beers. We're going beers.
We're going beers. Are we going a 6-pack?
Yep.
I would have to give it a 5 beer main event.
Yeah.
You talking about it, the tag team title match, MSK and Legado del Fantasma.
Yeah.
I am going to go in the complete opposite direction.
Wow.
Hated the shit out of this match. I hate MSK.
Why are you doing zero dinero right now?
I don't know.
Okay.
Dinero. Because he knows I hate it.
I know you hate it, but
I hate MSK. Take your 6,000 flip, no selling, false finish bullshit someplace else. I hated it. I fucking hated it. And those are the only words I can find right now. You made, and I like Legado del Fantasma, but you made them look weak. You mean to tell me a dozen boom fucking moves can't put that guy away? Not one of them. 1, 2, the shoulder comes up. And then one move is enough to put Joaquin Wilde out. You made Legado look weak. They lost cleanly, which is okay. But they wore out their repertoire on these guys and couldn't put them away. I did not like it. It's a step backwards. We've been getting good tag team wrestling from NXT and AEW. This was a step backwards for me.
I was in the middle. I know you're both going to say, what a homer. I was in the middle. I thought at one point we were going to get new tag team champions. But what we have bitched about in the last 6 months about the Young Bucks, MXK has become the Young Bucks. They really have. And that's why I was not high on them in the Dusty Classic or them winning the titles or anything like that. It almost seems like this is a WWE brand are chasing the Young Bucks again now.
Yep.
And it's MSK being the Young Bucks. Other things I liked, Kushida against Carmel. His last name is Hayes.
Well, the thing is, you have Wade Barrett say you may know him as whatever his name was, but now he's Carmelo Hayes. What was wrong with his old name?
Right.
That you got to give us a name that Mark can't pronounce.
I liked him though. Besides his name, I liked what he did. Kushida's just, I would watch him fight a piece of paper. I really would.
Yep, I was going to say, he's just on a different level. Carmelo Hayes was fine, did nothing wrong. You just almost can't compare anybody right now to Kushida. Just crisp, no fat, just trimmed. Everything is on point. If he was operating at a 10, Carmelo Hayes was operating at an 8.5. Just, that step and a half behind him. That's not to say I didn't think the kid was good. I thought he was, but Kushida's just something else right now.
I got nothing on this one.
You got nothing on this one. Do you have anything on LA Knight and Jake Atlas? Because Cameron Grimes is going to be the one, spoiler, going with the $1 Million Man. I see it.
Yeah.
I see it, and I didn't think it was going to be that way, but the $1 Million Man is going to be the one who's like, all right, kids, I've shit on you enough, and you do have money, not as much as me, but maybe if you come with me, you'll get to be the $1 Million Man at some point. And I think it's Grimes against LA Knight for the $1 Million Championship.
Yeah, it's going to go that way. I think it's going to be LA Knight getting it, though.
He alluded to that, too. Ted DiBiase did in the interview afterwards that maybe he was wrong about Cameron Grimes. I think I hate to say this, I think he messed up that promo
that bit.
But anyway, yeah, he got his point across. To your point, Mark, I think, that's how he'll align. The match itself, I remember seeing an interview with Shawn Michaels where he talked about, I think it was in Watts' territory. He was a young, super fresh babyface against Ted DiBiase, and they said, you're going to get these 3 moves in, and that's it. The rest of the match, I'm going to beat the crap out of you. I wonder if Ted DiBiase kind of, had that conversation with these guys and said, hey, here's something I did a long time ago, see if it works for you. Because for the most part, you had LA Knight dominating this match with just a couple of pieces of offense. I did not see him getting pinned. That blew my mind.
Yeah.
This seemed like... Go ahead.
No disrespect to Jake Atlas. I just didn't think he was picking up the win.
It looked like that Ted DiBiase-Shawn Michaels match where he dominated. Atlas gets a few moves in, and then ultimately LA Knight wins. But Atlas does get the win with the help of Cameron Grimes.
Chad's nodding. He's got nothing. Anything else on NXT for you, Chad?
No. I didn't watch that much of it, to be honest with you. It was mostly I went in cheaters.
Oh, cheaters. John?
Zoe Starks looks great.
That's it?
I'm trying to remember if she was in the tag team. Yeah, they challenged for the championship.
Yeah, with Zeta.
Yeah. With Zeta. Yeah, Zoe hits hard.
She does.
Yeah, she's got some stiff forearms and clotheslines. That's good to see. I love it.
Like I said, I'd like to see the way girls, women, hold these titles for a while. I think this needs to be the longer run because the first tag team held them for 30 seconds. The faces got them for a couple months, but I think these guys need to hold them and do their dastardly ways and be the main of the way for a while. Gargano's always going to be NXT. Austin is getting built up, but I think the women need to shine a little bit. Yeah?
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. You want to see a quick transition? Raw and SmackDown. They're grouped together this week because they're that great. And then we'll talk about what else went on in WWE this week and some predictions maybe we have out of that. Now, don't everybody pound the doors down to talk about what happened on Raw or SmackDown.
Give a shit less on either shows. Roman Reigns has just shown how comfortable he is in being a bastard. I'll take that. He's doing a fucking great job. The only other thing I seen, you shared it, but Sheamus was injured week before by Humberto, who shouldn't be in a match ever, Carrillo. Busted up fucking nose and everything. He's undergone surgery. Let's see how that affects him. Not WWE, but forgot to mention Joey Janela is out for a while.
We're not even there yet. We're still on WWE.
That's AEW.
Oh, now
Janela hit Adam Page and bloodied him up pretty good 2 weeks ago. Being irresponsible, Page kind of gave it back to him, and now Janela's out for a while.
On the shelf.
On the show.
Your turn to run.
Boy, yeah, last week I said Raw was my favorite show. I'll stand by that. It did not take long to go right back down the tubes. I'm trying to think of a single thing that stood out about it. And what stands out is that somehow, mysteriously, after getting shredded by zombies, The Miz is back on TV as if nothing happened. I'm just so tired of being presented with something that gets somebody off.
They made reference that he stinks, though, the whole time.
Okay, well then. Realizing it's the dumbest thing they've ever booked since the last dumbest thing they've ever booked. And then just pretending it never happened. SmackDown, I've said before, I am high on Dominic Mysterio. I think he's really going to be a star. I enjoyed that tag team match against the Usos. I love the Usos. They're probably still my favorite team. And then it seemed like they kind of had things going. It was kind of falling apart at the end, and so Roman had to come out and lay everybody out and yell at his cousins like, can't you do anything right? Get some new guys. I don't get it. They're that bad.
Right? Call Cesaro.
Yeah.
Alexa kind of setting something up with Baszler. I'm intrigued to see where this goes because Alexa hasn't been in the ring for a match in a long time. I personally think they've hid something from us for a while. She is always on the concussion protocol because when she wrestles, she takes it hard. She does. She goes all out. So I wonder, she was with The Fiend for a while, but only doing sticky stuff. So I want to see what she's going to be like in the ring because it's going to be her and Baszler. It could be fun. And I like how it's slowly separating Baszler and Nia a little bit. That's going to upset John. How many times do we get to see Shelton Benjamin take on Cedric Alexander because they both are piss broke that they were kicked out of the
Hurt Business.
Yeah, the Hurt Business. Lana takes her last loss in WWE Monday night, as we'll transition to that. Yeah, there you go.
Just shout out to Alexa Bliss because we know she listens to us. Condolences on the passing of her pet pig, Larry Steve.
Yep. Week ago now, yeah.
A week ago now. That's why she was off of wrestling last week. It was a pig that she trained and had for almost 4 years, and, it was like a family member to her. Being away from her human family, that was her family, and all of a sudden he passed away overnight to one night, and she went on live, and I watched a few minutes of it, her and her boyfriend, and you could see how visibly upset and everything she was, so just...
Yeah, they raised like $16,000 for I want to say like a pig sanctuary.
Like a rescue or whatever. So, and not to be rude, but, people get pigs, raise them like that, and then butcher them.
She was not.
This fucking pig was like a dog. Yeah. Trained exactly like a dog, and it's just always sad to see that, but, our condolences on your buddy and what you did in his memory, getting that money to help others and stuff like that really shows the sweetheart that she is.
So we're going to spend some time on the... Well, go ahead, John.
Yeah, you guys both know the Geithner family in
Yeah.
Ridgeway, right?
Yeah.
Ben is our age. I haven't seen him in a few years, but when I was at his house, he lives in the Pittsburgh area, he had a pet pig. And he had Rottweiler, which I got to his house before he was home. Quick story. And the Rottweiler sees me and comes darting towards the window. And I thought he's going to crash through the window or it was a she, and I'm dead.
And I'm dead.
She was huge. She was huge and vicious. But when I walked in with Ben, she was the sweetest dog. But the pig was just one of the gentlest, sweetest pets ever. Rolled over on his back and, rub his belly like he's a dog. In fact, he followed the dog around, and this is how sweet the dog was. She would roll over on her back so that he could, rub his face and his mouth up against her belly, and they kind of had a mother-son relationship. It was the sweetest thing. I never thought a pig could be a pet until that day, but they had a dog and a pig, and they were the best of buds.
Yeah. Of random animals, this is not even noteworthy, but of random animals, if you could have a random animal as a pet, trained and does everything right like a pig or anything, what random animal would you have as a pet, Chad?
A bear.
Jesus Christ. John?
An owl.
All right. Chad's aggressive, so that leads to the aggressive.
Do I need to go to something else?
No, because I want mine. I'm going to tell you mine, but I also want to know, why a bear, because I understand. It's a big, burly type of deal thing. Why the fucking owl is where I was getting to.
I've seen people that, videos that have owls, they almost have this big smile on their faces, like they know they're in a different situation than where they were before, and they're loving life. I don't know, they're cute, they're cuddly, they love when you pet them.
I've never heard this. That's why I'm really intrigued. Wow.
Yeah.
Mine would be a spider monkey. I've always loved spider monkeys. Have them running around, open the fridge, bring me a beer. Hey, go get my snuff. I forgot it upstairs.
So you want a slave?
No, I don't want a slave. Jesus, God, this went down the wrong path. Before we talk about the releases, we're going to play a quick little game here on Can Crushers. Fire one, hire one, rehire one, and erase one from history.
Okay.
All right. So we have to fire one of these three.
Fire John. Hire Megan.
Ooh, Megan.
Yes.
Megan who? Markle?
The one that does...
Oh, Megan Nelson.
Yes.
Oh, geez, she's getting another pop. It's not even an IWC show yet. All right. Fire one of these guys. Rollins, Reigns, or AJ?
Fucking say AJ. I'm going to punch you.
Seth Rollins is really good. I think his promos are very believable. For what you're getting out of everybody right now, you're going to find this hard to believe, but fire Reigns.
Because I've seen Rollins' work for a long time and AJ's work for a long time, I got to go with John Fire Reigns.
So that's three of us. And there's no reason for me to jump back on that. All right. Rehire. And, of course, we're talking about WWE. Rehire. Punk, Jericho, or Moxley?
Punk.
You're rehiring Punk.
Yep.
Moxley.
I'm going to say Punk as well. I know he's been out of it for a long time, but of course, Punk's one of my favorite. I'd love to see him come back, give him one more due, and I still think in time he'll get it. Now erase one from history. Taker, Cena, or Austin? Who are you erasing?
Oh, come on.
It was a thing that was brought up on a couple of shows this week, and that's why I'm stealing it. You have to.
No,
it's not hard.
No, it's not fucking Cena. Come on. The Taker or Austin or Cena?
Process of elimination. Austin's the first guy off the list.
That's just because you've never liked him.
Well, no, it's because he revolutionized wrestling. Wrestling was dead, so...
Oh, so...
I'm not saying he's the one I erase from history. I'm saying he's not the one I erase from history. I'm trying to go by process of elimination. You can't deny, though, what John Cena did when they needed a star. I mean, he made an impact when he showed up. this is going to sound crazy. Mark Calloway was so good as The Undertaker, he could have been anything else and made it work. So for me,
that's where I was.
Get rid of the Undertaker character. I'm not saying get rid of Mark Calloway, because the guy is a terrific worker. Get rid of the Undertaker, in my opinion.
I'm there too. I think what Cena's did during that dead ball era, he was the face. I do. All right. Chad's furious with us.
Lost a lot of respect. First, he dogs Britt Baker. Now he's fucking getting rid of the Undertaker.
Oh, it's not.
First, you're a fucking Tigers fan, and now you're getting... This world sucks.
All right. So, releases came out this week, and there were some big ones. Literally.
And figuratively.
And figuratively. Braun Strowman's released. Lana released. So, see, I start high and I instantly drop. Buddy Murphy.
Riot.
What?
Ruby Riot.
Ruby Riot. Who's the other two? Why did I forget them? Nonetheless, we have releases out there this week. And I want you guys to ponder where they're going or whatever. My first is Braun Strowman does not go to AEW. He's not ready for AEW. Billy Corgan loves him. And I've already posted this. I think Braun Strowman goes to NWA and gets his feet wet for a long time. And they use him as whatever. We saw Andrade come over to AEW. That's going to open the books up for a lot of people. I don't think the releases are done yet either. So where my predictions are out of all of this, and you guys can just randomly talk as well like I am, I think we get 6 more real quick. Ricochet has not been noteworthy. You lost Tucker, so there's no reason why Otis needs to be around. Liv Morgan, the whole Riot Squad's gone.
Yeah.
I think maybe Friday could have been Liv's last match. I think she shines somewhere, though, getting out of whatever. What do you guys see? Anybody else? And then
Aleister Black was one you
Aleister Black, yeah. God,
Yeah.
how did we forget that one?
And Santana Garrett.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And Garrett. Yeah, it was 3-3. So, who else can we see? And we've talked about this off a little bit. What's going on? WWE is for sale.
Braun Strowman saw it coming. Vince has shit on Braun. He's taken title matches away from him, everything like that. And Braun just signed a huge contract in 2019. They're cutting cutting 2 years off of his contract. He was a product of money. He was earning over $1 million a year. No. He's got a lot of options. I don't see him going to NWA. I think he's going to show up in Impact.
Okay.
Ruby Riot, I think, is going to show up in AEW. Aleister Black, I think, is going to Ring of Honor. Agree with you on the other releases. Boy, I wouldn't be surprised to see. What the fuck is his name? Overly see Cesaro leave.
Wow. Well, yeah, I could see Cesaro leaving too.
Cesaro and Nakamura.
Lana, it was about damn time. I'm surprised she hung around after her husband left. I think that was just a stunt to keep her around. But anyway, Braun Strowman, I'll also say it's about damn time, but I was still surprised because Vince just loves big men. rumor has it from Dave Meltzer that Omos is going to get kind of the big man push now. I don't think he's remotely ready.
Do you compare? Wait, let's stop there for a second. If you had to pick of one of the two, Braun or Omos, who are you taking?
Braun. As much as I can't stand him, Braun Strowman. I don't know that there's ever been that much potential in somebody like Braun Strowman who just couldn't get over. You know, with the Wyatt family, kind of a background character, I think, you know, that worked for him, but he was just not a man. I'm surprised he had $1.2 million a year contract. And I know we're talking, you know, COVID era, but what is he bringing in? You know what I mean? You still have to have people tune in to see somebody. And was anybody tuning in to see him? I don't think so.
I think he got killed with the COVID stuff because he was like Big Show. You could put him on the card against, you know, 3 or 4 of your undercard fucking baby faces, you know, like Carrillo or what the fuck's the other one, or Ricochet or something, and have him beat the shit out of both of them. He's a sight to fucking see. I remember the first time I ever saw Big Show, and it's like, holy fuck, that's a big son of a bitch. That's what you could have done with him, but he was a victim of just the time. I think he would still be there if there was fans in there the whole time. One I wanted to bring up, and if this pisses some listeners off, I care, but I don't care. Aleister Black being released, huge fucking mistake. They didn't use him the way they should, but Booker T said about him on Booker's podcast that he agrees with the release because Aleister Black didn't have what it takes to be a superstar. Coming from the most overrated motherfucker in the business that made his run when WCW was, you know, shit in the pot, that's kind of fucking ignorant. I think Booker T's way off on that. It isn't, Black can't do what fucking creative and Vince won't let him do. You know, it's just that simple. And Vince always, if it's not a WWE created fucking thing, Vince always shits on him.
I agree.
Just a couple of quick points. Chad, I as far as Booker T goes, I like his stuff. I never really loved it. I thought he was capable in the ring. I don't know about overrated or not. I will say I often feel his commentary and his opinions are off the mark. I don't know that I've really ever agreed with the guy. With these couple of women that were released, it's really about time we just have one woman's champion again. I don't know that there's a top 5, you know, on the SmackDown brand right now. If you had to say, like, the top 5 contenders for the SmackDown Women's Champion, I don't think there are 5 women on the SmackDown brand right now.
There's 3.
There's 3.
Bianca, Bayley, and Sasha.
Championship.
Yeah, buddy.
And then to your point, what's going on? You know, we mentioned again, it was $1.2 million when everybody's kind of struggling right now. So that kind of was the idea, I think, for Braun to get rid of him. I don't think anybody's making a dent in WWE. You know, we had this discussion with Ask Can Crushers. Is AEW damaging? No. I don't even think they're on their radar. They forced them to switch days, you know, with NXT, but I don't think AEW is doing any damage to the WWE. I think they're damaging themselves.
I think the 3 of us would agree with that. The rumor is that the WWE is out there and there's offers for $4 to $5 billion from Disney and ESPN. And I think the McMahons in general are just done with wrestling. Shane's got his own thing going on. Steph and Triple H can make money by going to the Comic-Cons and stuff like that. Vince is just done. I think that they really don't want to be in the wrestling business anymore. I really do. Triple H, would be the one. But if you're throwing $5 billion, we're just going to round it, say $5 billion into McMahon's, they're already billionaires, but Triple H's grandkids are fine once the sales goes through. Isn't it about setting up your family?
Yeah, it is. And that's like 25 generation kind of money right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
25 generations from now is not going to spend that money. I think they have to. If that offer's really out there, they have to take it. I think the product gets worse than it currently is. I think you just have more TV people rather than wrestling people booking the promotion. And
I think it goes back to more characters then as well.
Yeah.
So, all right. That's it for segment number 2. When we come back, we'll have Love 'em While We Have 'em. These guys will think I'm delirious when I bring up the...
Delirious?
Yeah, crazy, nuts, stupid, whatever.
Oh, I thought you were going to bring up the wrestler from Ring of Honor, Delirious.
No.
Oh.
I am definitely not him. And then, I don't know, I think I have one more question for you guys. So
Predictions.
Predictions for NWA that's going to happen in 2 hours from now.
Hey, this is Baby Doll, your perfect tan. And if you wanted to listen to some wrestling talk, listen to the Can Crushers.
And welcome back, Can Crusher Nation. It is I, the Glorious Guru, in studio with Mark the Mark Martinez, and John is at the Castle Catalano.
Oh, that's
He
nice.
does not have... We haven't seen coffee being served. Have you given the peasant servants the day off, John?
I'm letting them sleep in. We got started pretty early today on a Sunday morning, so yes, I'm letting the common folks sleep in today.
That's nice. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do Love What We Got 'em, or do you want my question at first?
Do your question. I'm curious.
Yeah. All right. Question. This was sent in by Tony from New Jersey, and I thought, I can't save this one. Well, you don't like Tony from New Jersey? I don't know who he is.
No, it's New Jersey, Tony. He's obviously got to be in the mob.
Oh, well, maybe. If you could change one match outcome in wrestling history, what would it be? I don't know if he was late getting to the old Ask Can Crushers, or if he just thinks we take questions whenever.
We can randomly do it.
Yeah, that's fine. He sent it in, and I thought, we can't save this one for about a month. This one needs to happen now. So, I know mine. So, I'll let you guys go first.
One title change in history.
No, not a title change. One match outcome in history.
Oh, just a match outcome.
Yes.
I would have liked to have seen Luger just beat Flair once. What was it? Was it in Chicago? There was the one where Luger had him in the torch.
Baltimore.
Jump. And so Luger jumped out of the ring to save Sting. I would have liked to have seen Luger win the title there.
I'm going to take mine a little bit different way. This is the first one that comes to mind. I wish Owen Hart would have never been scheduled for that match.
That was mine.
You want me to do a second one?
You can pick it. That was mine. But yeah, the Owen match, because what we could have gotten other. But if you have another one in mind, that's the only one I had in mind, because I'm like,
that came to my mind. Just take it a different way. If you're going the Montreal screw job, I wish that wouldn't have went down the way it did. I wish they would have went a different direction with that.
Okay.
I just watched that again yesterday, the Dark Side of the Ring. So I watched the latest one, and then I watched that Montreal one again.
All right, well, there you go. That's a good transition real quick. Let's talk about this week's Dark Side of the Ring with Grizzly Smith.
Rockin' Robin, Sam Houston, and Jake Roberts.
Yeah. I didn't know everything, guys. And this was a hard one to swallow. Holy moly! If you didn't know what happened, Grizzly and his wives were. It says right at the beginning of Dark Side of the Ring that there's going to be sexual contact and incest, essentially. It's a warning. Holy shit! I didn't know this happened.
Mark talked about some of the interviews we have coming up, and can I throw his name out there? Yeah. So we talked to Sam Houston. Obviously, the Dark Side of the Ring episode had been shot, but the Sam Houston interview our interview has not aired yet. And you see in the documentary, Sam was probably closest to his father. Said he saw him as Superman. And Baby Doll says, Robin didn't say anything because likely Sam loved his dad so much he wouldn't have believed it. And that doesn't make Sam a bad person or anything. It's just, you're faced with something like this, you could find it hard to believe. And he speaks, fondly of his father when we interview him too. When you listen to that, guys, when it drops here in a few weeks, be perfectly honest. Number one, we give people a platform to speak on our show. More often than not, they come on our show for free and take time out of their schedules to talk to us. So long as, obviously we give them the opportunity to discuss things they want to discuss about what they're doing in their lives now, and then they give marks like us an opportunity to ask all sorts of wrestling questions. And number two, I think it's fair to say, Mark, you just said it, you didn't know. I certainly didn't know. I knew Jake and Grizzly did not get along. I know Jake had some daddy issues. He wanted his dad to be proud of him, and he wasn't. I didn't know Grizzly did this stuff.
Yeah.
This was demented. This was disturbing. What I want to know is, who was giving him these kids to take with him on road trips? Was it Baby Doll who told a story like she was driving with him somewhere?
Yeah.
And like a 15, 16-year-old girl gets in the back seat, and her parents are waving like, okay, have a nice week. What the hell? And then he showed up, I don't know if it was at Rockin' Robin's hotel or her house, and he's got a 9-year-old girl with him?
Yeah.
And he says, will you make her a strawberry daiquiri? And then he goes to bed, and Robin said she spent the whole night. We never went to sleep. We just talked the whole night. She said, I knew what happened to me and how it happened, so I asked the right questions. Does he ever just pull over, and I won't go into details. She's like, yeah, it makes me uncomfortable. I'm not really sure what he's doing. How did this guy have some random 9-year-old girl? The next morning, he's getting ready to leave, and he goes to take the girl with her, and Robin says, no, you're leaving. She's staying with me. I imagine she somehow got her home to her family, or they didn't really get into that part of the story, but, was this guy involved in, trafficking of children? And he was a star. He was a star. You can get away with anything. They say he got Sam Houston out of 27 DUIs.
Yeah.
The guy was a monster, an absolute monster.
All joking aside, I get on to people and, this and that type of name or things like that. I haven't seen this episode yet, but I knew the background about it. He's a piece of shit. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't care what he did after this point or anything like that. That's when he did his booking and stuff and was supposedly so good for Bill Watts and things. He's a piece of shit. I don't encourage anybody to fall off the face of the earth, but if he did, I don't think there'd be a lot of hurt feelings. Jake is Jake. He's always been that way, always blamed everything on everybody else. Robin and Sam were the ones that I think, caught up the most in this from different ends of the spectrum. This is just something fucking gets anybody who's a parent gets their fucking blood boiling. You know, what was this guy involved in? Was it trafficking? Was it that he was held in such high esteem that people trusted him with their, you know, kids, with their daughters? Was there fucking money involved? Hey, let me, you know, she wants to go on the road and see all the big bad wrestlers and everything like that. I'll take care of everything. You know, what was the, you know, real scenario with it?
It was bad. It was bad.
He destroyed them. He destroyed them insofar as, you know, they've got issues, and it seems Robin and Sam have dealt with it better. But he pitted them against each other too. You know, she went into the manipulation of how he pitted the kids against each other, and also how he ignored her for, I don't know, a month or 2 months. He ignored Robin, and she didn't know what she did wrong. And then he shows her attention and affection. She's just so happy that her dad loves her again. Whatever it was she did wrong, she won't do it again. And that's what he uses to take advantage of her. Just an absolute monster. To where I think, like, years later, you know, Mark, we saw Sam Houston, Rock and Robin was on the card. They say they don't really have a relationship. I'm sure at some point Jake was on a card with those guys. They say they haven't talked in years. And there's not a point where you go up to your brother and say, hey, what's going on? What's up? How you doing? He ruined the ability for them to have relationships even with each other. He wrecked lives. He was an absolute monster. Good riddance to bad trash. He's dead. The world's a better place for it.
You know, I wonder, John, you say about their relationships, not having them. Wow, you know, the combination, I don't know what to say about Jake, you know. Jake, like I said, Jake is Jake. I've never heard anybody really say anything good about him. But, you know, Sam, brokenhearted that this shit really happened, maybe feels like he didn't do anything for his sister. His sister not telling him the way Grizzly really was, and then breaking his heart when the shit come out. It's just like what he did to them is still playing against them. You know, it's still, he's still the center point, which, you know, Sam feels guilty, she feels guilty, different ends of the spectrum. Jake's a noted piss drinker, you know, whatever the case may be. It just, boy, I really hate to say this, but if ever there's somebody, you know, to go and piss on their grave, this would be one dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very quickly, I know, Chad, you didn't see it, but there was another sister. There's another brother, too. Richard, I think his name is, never got involved in wrestling. But there was another sister that mysteriously disappeared, and Robin suspects that Grizzly had her killed. She said that she thought Jolynn was her name. She was going to expose who her father really was. And then she just went missing.
Yeah.
Crazy.
This one was almost, when I'm sitting and watching it, comparative to the Benoit story. Complete different angles of, like, the spectrum and everything, but hard to watch. So if you guys haven't watched it, and you're listening to us for the first time, just go in and be prepared, because there's some things that we didn't talk about as well. Just go in and be prepared that it's a tough pill to swallow. And if you have young wrestling fans, this isn't the one to let them watch. This is not the one to let them watch. So,
correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Let's do one thing. Let's do the NWA thing, then do Love Them While We Have Them. All right. So NWA's pay-per-view is today at 4 o'clock. 8 or 10 matches here on the docket. I've been dabbling with NWA. Chad's been watching. We're not going to break it down, but we'll get the matches. JTG against Fred Rosser. You know Fred Rosser is Darren Young. So That's
JTG, the
Crime Time with Shad.
Yeah, sorry, the Jake thing.
I know. I know. That's why I'm trying to move it along and be happy, because we have to get back up.
How much is the pay-per-view?
$20.
Yeah, $19.99 off a Fight.
Yeah.
$20, and you order. Well, I don't know how many people can log on my thing.
You probably shouldn't mention that on air, and I'm not editing it out.
Okay.
NWA When Our Shadows Fall. Yeah. So yeah, it's $20. JTG against Fred Rosser, debuts against Destiny is what the match is being dubbed. I didn't see JTG make his way into the NWA. I'm like a week or two behind. Fred Rosser, when he was there earlier, I love what they're doing with him. So, yeah.
There's only a couple of matches I'm invested in, really 3 of them.
All right, well then I'll just fast forward. Thunder Rosa and Melina is taking on Taryn Terrell and Kylie Ray. I'm excited for Kylie Ray to be back. I've always been a fan. She's had some mental health issues about if she's wrestling, she's not wrestling. She doesn't like the promotion. She leaves the promotion. She comes back to a promotion and everything. I think this NWA is going to be a good fit for her.
Yeah.
I really do. I've always been a Kylie Ray fan in the first place. A grudge match between the Pope and Tyrus. When I saw Tyrus wrestle the last time, he's rough in the ring.
He's like not joking his size that he's fat, but he's like a fucking hippopotamus walking through the jungle. Everything just moves the fuck out of his way. But he reminds me of a big fucking convict from the state prison.
Bunkosaurus.
Yeah.
There's a fatal 4-way tag team match. These are the 3 noteworthy matches that we're going to talk about. The NWA Tag Team Championships, you have Aaron Stevens and Kratos defending against the War Kings of Crimson and Jax Dane, and Latimer and Chris Adonis. I think we get new tag team champions, Chad. And I think it's going to be the War Kings.
Yeah. That was exactly where I was going. I think they're going to capture it in a surprise.
Yeah. I don't think you put it on Latimer and Adonis, because Adonis is national champion. And I think you have to get him off of Stevens and Kratos, because Aaron Stevens, I love him. His stick doesn't fit with Kratos. Everybody still remembers him with a question mark. He needs to go back to that type of booking. John, I know you're on a pause for a second, but you'll enjoy it. Trust me if you buy it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely am going to buy it, and I have a question for you when you're done.
All right. NWA Women's Championship match. Serena Deeb defends against Camille. We love Camille. I don't know if this is Camille's time for the title right now, though. It'd be great to get it back in the NWA, but I don't know. I think like a Thunder Rosa represents the NWA a little bit better. I don't think Camille needs one, because she's just a big, beefy, powerbomb woman. I love her, but I don't know, Chad. What do you think?
Camille's been around for a few years. She was wrestling before. I don't know that it's her time to get the title, but I think she gets a title tonight. Because, to be honest with you, and I love Serena Deeb, she's the woman of 1,000 holds. Dean Malenko's long-lost child. I think that Camille makes a better attraction for what's going to eventually be against Britt Baker.
Oh, okay.
I just see with them talking, we're going to work with this, and Billy Corgan went on record, working with AEW and talent swap. I just see that being a bigger ticket. I see Camille coming in, and nothing against the ladies of AEW. There's a lot of really good wrestlers in there. But I see, how about Camille against
Jade,
Nyla Rose, or Jade, or how about Camille beating the shit out of the young blonde? I can't think what the hell her name is.
Ty Conte?
Ty Conte. doing stuff like that. I think there's more options with Camille as champion right now.
Let me put a pin in that for a second. You did see that Britt challenged Deonna Purrazzo already for her title in Impact. So there's a little cross-promotion already. Those two have shared the ring before, too. It's out there. Make sure you watch it. It would be unbelievable. And then the main event is Nick Aldis defending the championship against Trevor Murdoch. As much as I love Trevor, I don't see him getting the title. I don't think it's his time. I think Aldis represents NWA to the full.
This is going to be, I think it's going to be a lot better match than any of us anticipate. I don't see Trevor Murdoch getting a title, but
I think it sets something up.
I think this sets up something else. My heart would dearly love it. This is what I'd love to see. I'd love to fucking see Marty Scurll come back. I truly miss him in wrestling. It's been long enough. But this is going to be... I gotta go. I still think Daniel Bryan for a short time.
Wow. John, what's your question?
So I'm definitely getting this. For $20, all the matches you mentioned are more than worth it. And it's on Fight TV. And I'm looking at Fight TV right now, and I can purchase it for $19.99. The girls are going to go out. My son and I are going to be home. We're going to order Chinese food, and we're going to watch wrestling. How do we watch this on our... Maybe you can talk me through this when we get off the air. The people don't need to hear this, but I could hook up the computer to the TV like I did before, right?
Yes.
Or is there a way to get this on TV like through a cable provider?
If you would have a Roku or anything like that, you would be able to buy it right off of your Roku.
John, we don't have enough time purchased with this podcast to explain it to you. We'll take it offline.
But yes, hook it up to your computer like you did with an HDMI cord and you're good to go.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, but you should buy a Roku. You can do a lot with a Roku.
Yeah.
It's supposed to happen 6 months ago.
Yep.
All right, so John, do your shtick.
All right, so this is Love 'Em While We Have 'Em. It's an opportunity for us to appreciate someone in the wrestling industry while he or she is still with us, rather than posthumously. So today, Mark is bringing a name to the table. Mark, whom are we celebrating this week?
Medusa / Alundra Blaze.
Nice. We saw Alundra Blaze against Bull Nakano in DuBois, Pennsylvania for the Women's Championship. Saw her back in the AWA days. She, no pun intended, was a trailblazer. She's earned the respect of women's wrestlers throughout the world, particularly in Japan. I thought it was pretty neat when she was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame that she gave a portion of her speech in Japanese. And some of the Japanese wrestlers in attendance appreciated that and gave her a round of applause. Stuck to her guns, did what she believed was the right thing to do. Still not 100% sure why she left with the WWF title and trashed it on WCW TV. If it was a matter of money, like, hey, if you show up tomorrow and do this, we'll pay you X amount of dollars. I don't know. But hey, it drew attention, and it's still something we discuss all these years later. Solid in the ring, very good in the ring. The right champion at the right time in the mid-90s.
She was ahead of her time, and I don't want to say trailblazer in that sense ahead of her time. She, give her 10 years later, 20 years later, whatever, I think she would have been a lot better suited because she was a wrestler. She was not a pretty face with her boobs jacked up, bouncing around the ring or, stuff like that. The one thing you can't not think of it is when she dumped the WWF women's title in the trash. That was the most ballsy thing. You know, we have wrestlers jump. We have Luger's contract expired on a fucking Sunday, and he was on Nitro the next day. You have got Hogan turning heel. Her doing that with the belt, that was the most taboo style thing. It's one thing to leave with a fucking title and not send it back. That goes through the, history of fucking wrestling. Think of Stan Hansen, running the fucker over with Subways over in Japan, cutting it up and sending it back to the AWA. She literally threw their fucking title in the garbage. She was one of the ones that led to guaranteed contracts and what's the property thing? Intellectual property shit hitting wrestling. For good or bad, that's what led to a lot of stuff. Boy, she woke a lot of fucking people up, and I don't want to say, I hate to say it, but she showed up men in a predominantly male-dominated sport.
I don't have anything to add. You guys took exactly the words out of my mouth, so I will echo everything you said. We still talk about it. Trash can wrestling belt. So, John?
Is that why you picked her? Because of the trash connection?
Yeah. That and what... I mean, you guys both just said it. I don't want to say she put women's wrestling back on, on the map again, but that is a moment in women's wrestling that a fan will always talk about. When she was still signed, and then this trashes it and goes to the other company.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, we still talk about it. Medusa Michelli, cheers to being here.
Cheers to being here. All right, I have one more thing, then I'll let you guys wrap up quickly. So last night, my wife's tired, son's playing whatever he's playing upstairs, and I'm like, I haven't watched enough wrestling yet. So I decide I'm going to scroll through and find a documentary. I watch You Cannot Kill David Arquette. We see the likes of some of our people who have been on the show, Ray Lynn, Katie Arquette, IWC, what he did across some of the hardcore stuff. Ready? I essentially feel for David Arquette now. He comes on and
I can understand that.
He comes on and says he told Bischoff he never wanted that title. Bischoff put it on him. DDP says, Eric, this is a stupid thing. Bischoff was so high on his horse, he's like, I'm going to do it. He was hated. Still by many people hated as ruining wrestling. I agree to a point, but what he did this last couple years about getting back into the business, he just wanted to prove that he could do it. He was 46 when he was going through all this, and when we saw him at IWC, and you saw him at Championship Wrestling and out of Hollywood and everything, he went everywhere to learn how to wrestle. He spent a month in Mexico learning Lucha Libre. He did all this on, yes, this movie is now probably giving him money back or anything, but he did this all on his dime because he was such a Macho Man and Elizabeth fan. He knew what he did back then was done dirty to wrestling, and he just wanted to show people, and he has gotten some more admiration out of this, that he could do it. The guy damn near died from Nick Cage. They show that match, and holy shit. So they go in a little bit deeper than the Dark Side of the Ring did. So if you want to watch it, I believe I watched it on Hulu, or one of the streaming. I believe it was on Hulu. It's free, man. Watch it. It's about an hour and 45 minutes long. You'll get respect for David Arquette. And a side note, and I mean this as nice as I can, he does have some problems. He's got some problems from the way he grew up and some of the stuff that his mother and father did to him as well. So I actually feel for him. We had him, oh God, what was it, 2 years ago? A quick snippet of when he was at IWC, he came on the show. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to reach out to David Arquette now, and if I see him at a con or anything, I'm going to go up and say thank you. And I truly mean thank you, because he has shown that he can do it, and he didn't want wrestling to hate him as much. So if you guys have not watched, you cannot kill David Arquette. I support this gentleman. I really do.
I don't think you can... anybody can legitimately say and be pissed off at him, ruining wrestling and everything like that. He was under contract. If they wanted him to dress as a fucking gobbledygook or two, that's what he was going to do. They didn't have control of creative. And, might be a bad comparison, but there's a lot of guys that shouldn't have had that fucking title.
Well, that's not what I'm saying right
now.
But
no. But I'm saying there's a lot of guys that shouldn't have had titles and stuff like that, that friends with the boss, or the boss thought it'd be funny to do this. Fucking Vince Russo put it on himself.
Right.
I got respect for him when he was at IWC when Katie won the first title, and he was signing autographs, and they started the match, and he's like, oh, come on. He said, let's get a picture. He said, I don't want to take away from the match. You're here for the matches, not for me. That gave me a bit of respect. And then seeing this shit, Nick Gage is a piece of shit. Arquette didn't know what he was getting into. Shouldn't have slashed his throat with a fucking bottle. This is one I'm interested in to watch.
Yeah. John, anything? We're going to do parting words because we're getting long.
No, I'm good to go.
All right. So, remember, John.
Just because you're trash, it doesn't mean you can't do great things.
It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.
He forgot that he was the end.
No!